Breaking tonight, Vortex strike helicopters have launched rapid operations over the Zephyr Strait after Arkanis forces attempted a major blockade.
Sources confirm multiple fast attack vessels were intercepted within minutes as low-flying units struck with precision.
The operation remains ongoing. The Zephyr corridor is secure, and any further hostile attempts will be neutralized immediately.
If you know these machines, you already love them. And right now, Apache attack helicopters are flying strike missions inside Iranian airspace. At 3 in the morning, Iran tried to shut down 20% of the world's oil supply. What happened next changed naval warfare forever. The alarm tears through the dark at a forward base in the United Arab Emirates. Crews race toward $30 million machines that Iran fears even more than carrier strike groups, the AH-64 Apache, and tonight they are hunting. For 40 years, Iran held one card that scared the global economy, the Strait of Hormuz, 21 miles wide. 20% of the world's oil flows through it every single day. Iran's message was simple: attack us and we shut it down. Gas prices explode, economies fall apart, the world burns. Then March 2026 happened. Iran tried to make that threat real. They failed in a huge way. Here's why. The Pentagon did not send what everyone expected. No giant carrier battle groups, no marine amphibious assaults. Instead, they sent something Iran never got ready for, something that flies so low that Iranian radar tracks empty air while death circles above. Apache attack helicopters flying from bases so close to Iran's coast that mission time is measured in minutes. This is not your grandfather's helicopter. This is a flying weapons platform rebuilt to hunt one thing: threats that hide. And in the Strait of Hormuz, everything hides. Twin turboshaft engines, a 30-millimeter chain gun, 16 Hellfire missiles, and the crown jewel, longbow radar that marks targets while the Apache stays hidden behind terrain, or in this case behind the curve of the earth, skimming the wave tops at 200 feet. But gear means nothing without tactics. And the tactics here were brutal. U.S. Central Command changed Apache doctrine overnight. These helicopters were built to kill Soviet tanks in European forests. Now they hunt speedboats in open water. The crews trained for one thing: find it, fix it, finish it fast. Intelligence sharing reached a level that sounds like science fiction. Satellite feeds, drone surveillance, maritime patrol aircraft, all of it flowing in real time into Apache cockpits. The kill chain took seconds. Iranian commanders made one major mistake. They thought Apaches would fly from distant carriers. Wrong. The U.S. placed Apache squadrons at forward bases across allied Gulf states, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Suddenly, every Iranian coastal position was inside Apache strike range. In day 22 was the turning point. Iranian forces tried to lay mines in the shipping channel under cover of darkness. 3 boats left Bandar Abbas Naval Base at 0200 hours. Satellite surveillance spotted them right away. 14 minutes later, 2 Apaches launched. They flew low, so low that rotor wash kicked spray off the black water below. No lights, no radio talk, just the steady thump of rotor blades and the hum of targeting systems locking onto contacts ahead. 4 miles out, longbow radar locked onto all 3 boats. Fire control solutions were worked out instantly. The lead pilot did not hesitate. 3 Hellfire missiles shot away at Mach 1.3. These warheads were built to punch through tank armor. Against fiberglass boats, it was far too much. The first Iranian boat simply stopped existing. The fireball could be seen from 20 miles away. The second flipped over in 90 seconds, its hull ripped open below the waterline. The third tried to run. A Hellfire does not miss. All 3 boats were at the bottom of the Gulf before they could lay even one mine. Mission time, 1 hour and 17 minutes. Iran's mine-laying ability was permanently damaged But that was only the warm-up. Iran's real threat came from swarm tactics, hundreds of small, fast attack boats, modified speedboats armed with machine guns, RPGs, and sometimes anti-ship missiles. Alone, they are annoying. In swarms of 30 rushing in from different directions, they are deadly. Traditional naval guns struggle against targets like these. A destroyer's 5-inch gun fires shells made for big ships and land targets. By the time the crew aims and fires, that speedboat doing 40 knots has already moved. Even the Phalanx close-in weapon system has limits when many small targets attack from different angles. The Apache's 30-millimeter chain gun was built for exactly this problem. 600 rounds per minute, mounted on a turret that moves faster than any human can follow. The pilot's helmet display lets him look at a target, mark it, and the gun follows his eyes. High explosive rounds blow up on impact. Fiberglass hulls tear apart. Fuel tanks burst into flames. If you're still with me right now, tap subscribe and turn on notifications. What I'm about to show you next is the 4-minute fight that ended Iran's whole small boat strategy. Day 25. 8 Iranian fast attack boats swarmed a commercial tanker convoy. 2 Apaches responded from 15 miles out. What happened next became military legend. The lead Apache fired 4 Hellfire missiles while still 2 miles away. 3 boats were gone instantly. The 4th was left dead in the water, burning. The 2nd Apache came in at wave-top height, chain gun blazing. High explosive rounds walked across the water like the hand of God. 2 more boats exploded. A 3rd caught fire. Its crew abandoned ship. The last speedboats panicked. They broke formation. They ran for Iranian waters as fast as they could. The Apaches chased them. Hydra 70 rockets launched from the wing pods. Flechette warheads burst in the air above the fleeing boats. Thousands of steel darts rained down. 2 more boats stopped moving. The final speedboat made it within sight of Iranian coastal defenses. A Hellfire hit it dead center. Debris flew 50 feet into the air. Engagement time, 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Iranian losses, 8 boats, 40 personnel. Apache losses, ammo used, 0 battle damage. This was not a lucky shot. This became the pattern. Every time Iranian boats entered the strait, Apaches appeared like ghosts. Iranian crews started refusing missions. Intelligence intercepts showed panic in Revolutionary Guard communications. Morale collapsed. Within 2 weeks, Iran's famous Mosquito fleet of small attack boats stopped existing as a real fighting force. But the mission went deeper. Iran spent decades building up coastal positions with anti-ship missile batteries hidden in cliffs and dug into civilian areas. These missiles could launch with little warning, giving ships almost no time to react. Apaches, working with the 10 Warthogs, systematically tore apart this whole network. One mission targeted a heavily defended complex near Jask, used 6 mobile missile launchers, protected by anti-aircraft guns, and hidden among civilian buildings. Direct airstrikes risked huge casualties. Artillery could not reach it. Special forces said it was too dangerous. 4 Apaches launched at dawn. They came in over the Gulf of Oman at wave-top height. Using a nearby island for cover, they popped up just long enough for radar scans, then dropped back down. Fire solutions uploaded. Attack runs started. The Apaches suddenly appeared over the coastal ridge. Hellfire missiles launched in pairs. Individual launchers and radar vehicles were marked for destruction. Iranian air defenses reacted too slowly. By the time anti-aircraft guns opened fire, the Apaches had already fired and turned away, using the land for cover. All 6 launchers were destroyed. Radar vehicles were wiped out, and ammo bunkers blew up in secondary explosions strong enough to register on seismographs. The Apaches left without a scratch. Missions like this were repeated all across Iran's southern coast. Every confirmed missile site became a target. The Revolutionary Guard tried moving launchers overnight. Surveillance tracked every move. Apache strike packages answered within hours. Iran's carefully built strategy to keep enemies out of the area began to fall apart under non-stop pressure. Then came the drone threat. Shahed-class one-way attack drones. Cheap, simple, effective, sent in swarms to overwhelm defenses with pure numbers. Apaches turned out to be deadly against drones too. Advanced radar could track many small air targets, and the chain gun used shells that exploded when they got close. More than once, Apaches intercepted full drone swarms before they reached their targets, shooting them down over open water. But the most important mission of all was mine-clearing support. Iranian mines threatened every ship in the strait. Clearing them is slow, dangerous work, usually done by special minesweepers that are easy to attack. Apaches changed everything. Flying overhead, they protected minesweepers from Iranian fast boats. Even more important, Apache sensors found floating mines that human spotters missed. When mines were found, Apaches destroyed them from a safe distance with precise fire. No need to send disposal teams into danger. This ability proved critical. Military analysts thought it would take months to clear the shipping lanes. It took weeks. By late March, commercial traffic was moving again. Oil prices, which had jumped above $150 a barrel, started to fall. Asian economies steadied. The global panic Iran was counting on never happened because the U.S. military showed it could keep the strait open even with Iranian resistance. Iran's leaders faced a strategic disaster. Their biggest leverage, the threat of closing Hormuz, had been neutralized, not by carriers or battleships, but by helicopters most people connect with desert tank battles. The imbalance worked both ways. But let's talk about what this really means. The people flying these missions worked under pressure most of us cannot imagine. Flying a helicopter 200 feet above the water at night, with Iranian defenses tracking you, knowing one mechanical failure or one lucky hit could send you into the Gulf. These aviators flew multiple sorties every day, often under fire. With zero room for mistakes, there is no eject button over open water. If that missile hits, it is over. The maintenance crews deserve just as much credit. Apaches are complex machines that need constant care. In the brutal Gulf environment, sand and salt wear down everything faster. Ground crews worked around the clock in intense heat, making sure every helicopter stayed ready to fly. Their hard work made the fast pace of operations possible, and that pace overwhelmed Iranian defenses. Logistics crews faced their own nightmare. Hellfire missiles do not grow on trees, neither do 30-millimeter rounds. Keeping forward bases supplied meant coordinating airlift over thousands of miles. One broken link, one delayed cargo flight, could have stopped missions and given Iran room to breathe. Intelligence analysts worked 12-hour shifts, sorting data from dozens of sources, finding targets in crowded civilian sea traffic, telling military boats from fishing boats, and predicting enemy moves. Their work directly decided whether missions succeeded or failed. So when you hear about Apaches dominating the Strait of Hormuz, remember, it was not just the pilots. It was a whole system of professionals working in sync toward one goal. Now, what does this mean for the future? The Strait of Hormuz operation changed how militaries think about control at sea. For decades, naval warfare meant big ships fighting big ships, with aircraft carriers projecting power through jets. The Apache success brings in a new model. Helicopters flying from spread-out land bases, giving nonstop air cover over contested waters. This model has huge advantages. Helicopters cost far less to operate than ships. They can deploy fast without the weeks-long travel time needed for carrier groups. Operating from land bases removes the danger of anti-ship missile attacks, and as Iran learned, they are devastating against small boats and coastal missile threats. Other countries are watching. China, facing possible conflict in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, is studying these tactics. Russia, with naval choke point concerns in the Kerch Strait and the Baltic approaches, will change its planning too. Even U.S. allies that already use Apaches now have a proven model for helicopter operations at sea, but technology alone does not promise victory. Iran could adapt. Better air defenses made specifically to stop low-flying helicopters. More spread-out operations that force Apaches to cover bigger areas, new drone designs that are harder to track, electronic warfare that disrupts data links and radar. The United States will keep changing its tactics and technology. The AH-64E, now in service, will one day be replaced by more advanced versions. Future aircraft programs aim to push speed, range, and payload past today's limits. Autonomous systems may one day support or even replace human crews. For now, one thing is crystal clear. Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is over. The ability to close that strait, which Iran waved around for decades as its ultimate trump card, has been taken off the table. AH-64 Apache helicopters now keep watch around the clock. Any Iranian vessel entering knows it is being watched and is within range of precision weapons that can strike without warning. This is more than a tactical win. It is a strategic reset. The global economy no longer fears Iranian threats to choke off 20% of the oil supply. Shipping companies return to normal insurance rates. Asian nations do not face sudden supply shocks. The world's most important energy choke point has been secured. The people who made this happen will not get parades. Their names will not show up in history books, but they carried out one of the most important military operations of the 21st century. They stopped a threat that could have crashed the global economy and started a wider regional war from the cockpit of a helicopter most people thought was only meant for killing tanks. That is the truth about modern warfare. It is not always stealth bombers and fifth-generation fighter jets. Sometimes it is the right platform in the right place with the right crew and the right tactics. The AH-64 Apache proved exactly that in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Every time their commanders thought about sending boats into the strait or launching drones at shipping, they knew American Apaches were circling somewhere above the dark water, sensors on, weapons armed, waiting. The blockade that was supposed to bring the world to its knees turned into a lesson in why you do not threaten global trade when the United States military decides you have gone too far. Iran gambled that America would not have the will or the ability to reopen the strait by force. They lost that bet in a disastrous way. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Do you think this operation changes the balance of power in the Middle East for good? What should Iran do next? Subscribe for more deep dives into military operations that shape our world. Click the video on your screen for another breakdown you need to see. This is the kind of analysis that cuts through the noise. See you in the next one.